SAA chairperson Dudu Myeni is being attacked for fighting white male corruption. This is according to City of Joburg Councillor Leanne Williams, who's a member of the Patriotic Alliance. Williams has since started a campaign called Hands Off Dudu Myeni. The councillor claims she's received credible information from within SAA on why Myeni is being targeted. Dudu Myeni apparently uncovered white male corruption at its best. This includes the corrupt sale of tickets that is costing SAA 100 million rand a month. Williams says of about 24 billion rand of SAA's annual budget, only 2% is allocated to black business and the rest goes to white capital. And we joined in studio by Leanne Williams, a councillor at the Joburg Metro. Leanne, thanks so much for your time. You're also the author of an article that has appeared and sprawled literally across all media. Welcome. But what motivated you to start this campaign?
It's the principle of standing up for women. I think if you look at our industry, private as well as the public sector, there are so few women in top senior leadership positions, and once those women are in those positions, when they do not stand with the boys' club or agree with the boys' club, they get attacked like this. I do not know Dudu. In principle, I'll stand up for any other woman if the same applies to them. She asked a simple question: why is SAA making losses? And that's where the trouble started. With investigations, white capitalists, corruption has been exposed. There's one correction in your report. The 100 million is not lost because of the ticket sales that was due to not following tender processes awarded to ShopRite, which was also linked to Mr. Visa. It was actually in Brazil, there's ticket sales of 100 million a month. And that ticket sales, the actual proceeds of that sales, does not come back to SAA. It's actually transferred to white males within SAA.
All right, so let's get another perspective. Natasha Mazone is the DA Shadow Minister of Public Enterprises. Thanks so much, Natasha, for your time. Just your reaction to the article, and primarily because the right of reply was afforded to Mr. Christo Visi, who neither denied nor confirmed these allegations. What is your reaction to it?
Look, my reaction is this. The fact of the matter is, under the tenureship of Dudu Myeni, and while she's been the chairperson of SAA, this woman single-handedly brought our economy to its knees by going through incorrect procurement processes in trying to swap deals. She has incredibly close links to the president, which makes her incredibly powerful. There are scandal after scandal revolving her personal consulting company and selling time to to meet with the president. There are also reports over the weekend that her son has a very close affiliate with President Zuma and in fact lives in his house. So I think to blame the fact that she's being attacked on a woman is disingenuous, and I think quite frankly it's an insult to all of the other women in the country who are keeping the flag flying very high for women, including those members of parliament who every day expose corruption at the highest level, including myself as a woman. I find that to be highly insulting. I think women are able to defend themselves, and I think in no circumstance can a loss and someone bringing the economy to its knees be blamed on the fact that she's a woman and be blamed on white capital. I find the whole thing that accusation rather ludicrous.
All right, let's get Leanne to respond.
So I think firstly, we need to, if we go back, when it's black corruption, the DA is the first to make it worthy of news. Now, in this case, it's white corruption. And what do? They attack her personally. If you look at Julius Malema, that small boy who actually goes and says because she's sleeping with the president, that you do not attack a woman who's in a senior position based on who she's sleeping with. That has nothing to do. Look at her credentials. Look at her work ethic. Look at what she's done for SAA in the time that she's been there. She has decreased the losses. Yes, there is still losses. One thing that we need to realize, women are also set up for hospital passes. If you look at what she owned, what she was given a hospital pass. She was set up to fail. And now that she's exposing, because white males put us in these positions because they expect us to come in there and be stupid and not pick up these things. And she asked the questions, she asked the right questions, and she picked up where are the issues, and she can turn around SAA.
Natasha, just based on the response from Leanne saying that SAA was essentially a terminally ill, a financially ailing airline before Dudu Myeni's time, and that there has been, or rather she has questioned critical areas of where the money could be hemorrhaging, and that is not something that we're looking at. What's your response?
I think it's very true to say that the airline has been ailing for some time, and that's due to the fact that pre-Dudu Myeni, we've had people, again, who are not experts in the field, and I think that's where the problem comes in. Dudu Myeni is certainly not an expert in the field of aviation. Neither was her predecessor, neither was her predecessor before that. I think to bring race into it is highly irrational, because we've had people that are black and white at the helm of SAA. The DA remains convinced, however, of the irrationality of Cabinet's decision to reappoint Dudu Myeni as the chair of the SAA board, and the DA will therefore be submitting a formal application for the review of Dudu Myeni's appointment, which will be lodged at the court.
Would you, but just in principle, want to ventilate and ensure that these allegations around, number one, that procurement of the entire SAA budget, only 2% thereof goes to legitimate black-owned businesses and the rest goes to white capital, whichever way you want to interpret that. But will the DA want to have a collaborative effort in unearthing any form of corruption, regardless of who is at the helm?
Look, I think one thing that's very important to note is the DA has tired the procurement processes of SAA for the past 2 years now. We have asked to see all tender documents, all procurement documents, all commercial documents relating to South African Airways. The answer comes back all the time that the information is commercially sensitive. That's why we are now going the route of the courts, because we've been forced to do so. We wish to unearth corruption, whether it's from any angle whatsoever. We want to get to the root of the problem, but certainly under Dudu Myeni, we are not going to get to the root of this problem.
Well, there seems to be another perspective, and Leanne Williams, as the author of Hands Off for Dudu Myeni. What happens now with your campaign going forward?
So I think Councillor Natasha must actually first do her homework before she comes and takes me on. Firstly, Dudu's issue started in May of this year, when she actually turned around the policy to say the 2% will now be changed, that the majority, 60%, actually goes to black-owned vendors and companies. And that's where the problem started. If you look at Bidvest, they have an ongoing contract since 1999, and it's not being reviewed on an annual basis. Further to that, when we talk about losses that have been experienced, let's talk about when it was under white male. What happened under the white male? Let's talk about Mr. Viljoen. He sold off all the fleet of SAA. What that meant, it crippled the balance sheet. And when you cripple the balance sheet, you're still sitting, and that's what Dudu's sitting with. SAA is still recovering. They sold off the fleet to go and lease it to an international company. Now think of it, when the rand decreases, when the rand falls, what happens to that lease payments? And this is, Natasha, I think you need to first take on and first go and do your research before you come and attack and say Dudu is the problem, because it's not Dudu. This problem did not start with a black woman. This problem started with a white male.
Natasha, just your quick response in closing.
Well, in closing, Leanne, please remember that I'm a member of Parliament and I've been the shadow minister for a very long period of time. So trust me when I tell you my research far supersedes your research. And I'll tell you this. The problem with Dudu Myeni did not start in May. The problem with Dudu Myeni started in 2012, the 9th of September to be exact, the day she was appointed, because she was a friend of the president. She does not have the correct qualifications to lead the airline. If she was a man, I would say the same thing. If she was a woman, I would say the same thing. We need someone in control of the airline who is not a political appointee and not a political cadre.
Yeah, at the time of Coleman Andrews, which is something that I can relate to personally as the CEO of SAA, I know as a matter of fact that he was also the chairperson of Bain & Company, which was a consulting firm to SAA, and went on to sell off inventory so that the balance sheet looks well. So what I'm asking is, will you work together to uncover corruption, period, in all areas without necessarily having the mudslinging as we experience?
Absolutely, absolutely. But I just want to correct. She says the problem started when Dudu was appointed. If you actually go back since when Dudu started, up until 2016, she potentially does not have the 2016 results. 2016, SAA is sitting at 1.9 billion. It's half of the losses of the previous year. And this is including all the issues still in SAA. One of the things that is quite key, and I know the DA has a key critical issue, is the fact that she is exposing of the staff that should leave. She actually fired the CFO, and now you can actually see that in the bottom line.
Okay, Leanne, we're going to certainly be looking closely at this one, but we really appreciate you and the stance that you have taken to stand up for women. Just the principle alone is noble. Thanks again. Leanne Williams is a councillor in Joburg and the Joburg Metro. Natasha Amazon is the DA Shadow Minister of Public Enterprises.